started working for Marriott, I used to hate asking that question. Was everything enjoyable with your stay? Because it's like a loaded question. I'm like, oh Lord, please don't say anything was wrong, right? Because I don't want to do anything with you. But have your frontline associates start to get comfortable asking that question. And then we'll look at how the ways we can empower them so that they're able to take care of your customer. 67% say because they felt indifferent. They didn't feel valued. They felt as if, okay, you came in, great, happy to see you, hello, type of thing, all right? Again, we said that 96% are not going to the plane, and it costs 5 times more to attract a new customer than keeping an existing one. And I definitely think because, you know, Kyle and I, was reconnected here, we were just talking about everything that's going on, and just as a resident here, I am thrilled and excited. When I first bought my house over here 15 years ago, this whole renaissance was supposed to be happening then. But then, you know, the recession happened, things went on. So it's been a long time coming. So we are. We're excited about it. And then when we go into the various businesses, we want to make sure that that person, whomever it is, doesn't have that indifference when we go in. Okay? So we're looking at what is it that customers want. And it's the same things that all of us are looking for and that we want. It's definitely, they want various responses. We all want to be treated like human beings, but definitely with that respect, right here, immediate action. That's that sense of urgency. You know, I always think about, CVS has a rule. I don't know if it's always practiced, but they have a rule that if there's more than 3 people in line, you have to call for backup. Because they always want someone to be looking, you know, we're being responsive to what it is that your needs are. To clear the problem so that it never happens again with the follow through, most importantly to be listened and heard. A lot of times, it's not about people trying to take you to the bank. It's about, did you hear my complaint? I had an appointment, you know, it was scheduled for this time, I wasn't able to be seen. So making sure that whomever is interfacing with that client is making sure that they're hearing that person. Because a lot of times people say, as long as I think someone heard it and I know the problem will be resolved, they're more apt that, oh, can I have 20% off? It doesn't always have to be a monetary thing that has to be to compensate what it is. So customers are human and we have to deal with that emotion first. So if that person is upset, that's the first thing that we have to deal with. Okay? Most of you all are the business owners, right? Where are your people? The people who deal with the people. So she's on the way? Okay. Is anyone else? You know, because it really is the people who are interacting with the customer. Because I know, even myself, we get trapped working on the business and doing things of that nature, and someone else is out front, and we may not always know what's going on. So it is important, I definitely encourage you guys to take this information back, and as we start to look at things we can implement, to really just express to them and share with them the value of that piece. Every time we have to go out and get a new customer, we're wasting time and money, okay? But also, we are also staking our reputation, because if we have unhappy customers, I can get milk from anywhere. I'll leave the store. It's a big national, kind of semi-national brand, and I teach hospitality up at university. We train students for entry-level employment to the hospitality tourism industry, and so I always share this story with them about I can buy milk and eggs anywhere. I don't care if I spend $2,000 or $2. I want it to be respected. And that's what people are looking for. The advent of self-checkout is like my dream. I can ask myself, did you find everything, Ms. Brooks? Is everything okay today? How's your day? And then if I'm angry, I can just throw my own stuff into a bag. All right? So with that, say, you know, when we go to the grocery store, someone saying, good morning, hello, did you find everything? Now you notice there are some stores that are really starting to implement that, but I think it has been because of all the competition that's coming. I think who does that well? Paris Peter, I think, does that really well as far as the service that talking and making sure that we're using the customer's name while we're going through that transaction, which also helps to give them and start to build that relationship with us together. So our current customers, our happy customers, they are willing to pay more for the product. Willing to pay more because it's about that experience. Like, I feel good when I come here, okay? They'll also give us friends and colleagues. We talked about Yelp and how a referral service, word of mouth sometimes is, I would say, and it's more of a social economy, especially with social media. People really are relying on the word of mouth. Hey, Vivica, where did you get your hair done? Where did you get those shoes? And people are willing to try things out. So I think referring friends and colleagues, when we have that unhappy customer, they're going to go to our competition. And then when we have to rebuild our customer base, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money as well. Getting the information out there, the marketing that has to be involved, the footwork. So 1 or 2 bad customer interactions could figuratively cost you 6 months of rebuilding them. All right? I'm excited with Lowe's coming to town. It's going to give some competition to Home Depot. All right? And I'm curious to see how that's all going to play out. You know, so as we go forward, we'll point out this is why it's necessary. Any questions so far? We good? Or anything you all want to add? Nothing? Okay. All right, so when we're going through, we're actually creating a customer-focused business. Oh, well, I'm sorry, sir.
This might be jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Since most people don't necessarily voluntarily speak up and tell you, how valuable or how important are customer surveys?
I think they're very valuable. Well, to a certain extent. What I think is depending on how the question is framed. And then I also think in the way in which it's delivered. So making sure that it's user-friendly. I think those, we get those receipts from Target, everybody's like, oh, win $500. And so, but still, how many of us really fill them out? I mean, we have the chance of winning $500 worth of free groceries or a gift card, but I don't think they're necessarily getting the information that they're looking for. So I think the best way to capture a customer's reaction is in the moment, and that's why empowering and having a staff on board when they're doing the transaction with the customer should do it right then. Yeah, I think that the timeliness, because after you have an interaction, the more time that passes, the fuzzier it can become. So that's what I do. That's why with that question about, was everything enjoyable with your stay, is so pertinent before you walk out those doors. Because if it wasn't, I have an opportunity to fix it before you go and tell everybody, Vivica was horrible to me, okay? Or also, it allows for, if it was something that was right, then we can continue to build upon that. So I think those. Okay. Anyone else? We're good? We're moving forward? Okay, cool. All right, so it definitely starts with you. How many of you all would say your customer-focused organization? Could be more profit-driven, could be more, is it? What is driving you in your business?
Well, I just my eyes get their goals, their fitness goals.
Okay, so the fitness goals, that's what's driving you? Okay, all right.
Well, profit, but I know also it's like a profit and connected with the family.
I'm sorry, say that last one.
Profit is to the family, but I would say more profit driven and family driven because without the family, there would be no profit.
Okay, and your fan is the customer for all
Yes.
intents and purposes? Okay, all right. So, I do think that sometimes people, like I had said, we kind of stray away from having that focus. And if you are going to have a customer-focused organization, it definitely has to start with you. So, with those things, that consistency, if we're going out there, we're modeling the behavior, we're rewarding the behavior. All of us like to be rewarded and acknowledged. So if you have people on your team who are consistently giving excellent service, delivering excellent service, we want to make sure that we acknowledge and reward that. The accountability piece, making sure that we are all as a team holding each other accountable, and then that people feel valued. I think that when we invest in our people, there is an intrinsic value in there. Oh, these are skills that they think that are important. These are skills that I can now use here and other places as well. So I do think that getting some type of training with your team members is important, and part of that training is making sure you're kind of refreshing it every 4 months, right? So that it's in the forefront of everyone's mind. And then also reinforcing that with immediate recognition. How many of you all have like employee recognition programs? Cool, what do you guys do? I saw 2 hands. Is it a secret? No. Okay, everybody's like quiet. I was like, maybe it's something really, really cool. What is it?
It's congratulations for meeting our monthly goal.
Oh, okay, all right. So there's a congrats for monthly goal. So everyone's invested in it, which I think is huge, okay?
We do award ceremonies with our students and staff.
Oh, nice. Okay, all right. So I think that these are things because it helps everyone knows the goal that we're working towards. When we talked about being indifferent as an employee, if your employees do not understand that profit, because at the end of the day, profit is our goal. Okay, profit is our goal. But everyone has to understand that, and if we keep that in the forefront through rewarding, accountability, making them feel valued, and reinforcing that behavior with immediate recognition, then we are keeping the customer base and building upon that customer base. And then our customers are now our marketing people. Okay, so those are excellent things. I do think it's important that everyone understands the goals of the organization, whether they're monthly, quarterly, they could be. We want to get our customer satisfaction scores up. We want to increase, bring in 10% new patients or new students, and just kind of make that a highlight and a benchmark as we're all working on this together as a team. Also, when we're going through and creating it, we have that sense, kind of talked about this, we're all here for the customer, but it's also about everyone's willing to serve the customer. I do not believe everyone should work with the public. Some people just don't have it in them. Just like I should not work with numbers. Okay, I accept that, I move forward, all right? So it is important to make sure we all understand that willingness piece, right? The policies are customer friendly. Are your policies one as such that they're convenient for whomever you're interacting with? So when I think of organizations that have great policies, when Kyle referenced online shopping, I love Amazon. It's just one click, and 2 days later, and 10 packages later, have everything you want and need, okay? Because they make it very easy for you to buy, ease of business. I one time had a package not arrived. I was like, oh, it's not here, and I was, had my little story, like, it never came, they were like, no problem, we'll just send another one. I was like, oh, perfect. All right? If you have to return something, even before the item has gotten back to their warehouse, they've already credited your card. Okay? So it's like an ease to do business with them. Costco's the same way. They're not like, oh, do you have your receipt? They just look it up. Might take a little bit of extra time. Okay? You have a longer period of time to return things. Very customer friendly on their policies. And that's one reason, it's amazing when you really break Costco down, we pay them to shop there with that annual membership. I've had one for like 15 years now. Okay, we pay them to shop there. Okay? Because their policies are customer friendly and they focus on the convenience. Management definitely hires people who are passionate about serving others, and a team approach is used. This is another huge concept. It's everyone's responsibility to make make sure this person leaves happy. Everybody's responsibility. We do not fall into these segmented, you know, when that, what is that saying everybody says, I'm just gonna stay in my lane? Well, this is that time I need you to merge, come over, use your blinker, it's fine, okay? But we're all gonna work together on this. We understand how everyone is to deliver excellent customer service. So, what is gonna be our standard of excellence? Is it included in your mission statement? Is it something that we're demonstrating? Because everybody's idea of service varies. Some people think, I said hello, I checked them out, I gave them their stuff. That was customer service. What's the problem, Vivica? And I'm like, what? Okay. So it's about what is our standard of service? That's what I just call transactional. You know, it's just very transactional. But when I want to do is create an experience. And so how do I do that? Through the interaction that I'm having with you, all right? So customer satisfaction will be measured on an ongoing basis. We kind of talked about that with Cyril's question. Constantly doing this, constantly looking at it, and then adjusting. So if we find out that something isn't working, not being afraid to switch it up and try something different, okay? Also, if customers bring things to our attention, I think if I hear something 3 times, I gotta get on it, good or bad, okay? If I hear something 3 times from clients, customers, students, what have you, that to me, I'm like, oh, let's look at the policies. Let's look at how this information is being disseminated out, and maybe we need to retweak it. So those are just some of the things on how you can go through and create it. Most hire right. Hire right. What are some of the things you all look for when you hire people? Since you're all others. Loves to smile. Okay, so someone who loves to smile. What else do you look for when you hire? Or when you're ready to hire? Yes, go ahead.
Loves to talk.
Loves to talk, okay. Tell me, what is your business? Your business is?
Comprehensive dental care.
Comprehensive, okay, dental too, okay. Yes, so loves to smile, loves to talk, all right? And I know as far as dental care goes, I am deathly afraid of the dentist.
Me too.
Oh, okay. And so I do want, you know, someone who can build that rapport with me and who can switch it up and accommodate. Not just, you know, someone like me who may put off certain procedures because of that sound drives me crazy, all right? But also someone else who's coming in and they recognize, okay, this is a person, they have their insurance card, they're ready, they're filling, and you're out, all right? So good, so loves to smile, loves to talk.
I was gonna say, good communication skills.
Okay, so good communication skills, able to interact with a lot of different people, okay? Yes. Oh, follow through is huge. Very, very good, okay? Now, I do think that some of those are very easy to get from the beginning. You can see if someone enjoys smiling, all right? You can see if someone, you know, I always tell my students, we're looking for people with a sense of urgency. It's like, you all are like, walk like turtles. You're half my age, okay? All right? And so that sense of urgency, because we're moving. And so those are the things that you can see kind of right off the bat when you're interviewing. But when Irene had said that follow-through piece, okay, how could we make sure that we're going to hire right and someone does follow through? So when you're going through your hiring practices, I do suggest to make sure that it's a great fit, that I do think somebody could be smiling, loves to talk, but doesn't have a lot of substance behind them, okay, which can be a deceptive. So putting in some type of measure or mechanism throughout the interviewing process that makes sure they're capturing the skill set that you're looking for, right? Because I would rather, I know I always, I would rather do an extra couple of days and get the right person than hire quickly, like, oh, I loved her, she was fabulous, and then I've got like a terror on my hands, and it's harder to, you know, part the relationship. We'll say it that way to be nice, okay? So it is. It's important that you hire right, make sure it is a great fit, and then training. Do we have onboarding processes in our organizations? And I know as small businesses it's very, very difficult and it's very, very hard, right? But sometimes if we put in all that work on the front end, we're not just come in, fill out this W-9, sit here and answer the phone, right? Maybe we take a day for orientation, right? We might lose some time, but what do we gain in the long run? So we want to make sure this person is correctly trained on all of our products and services. Misinformation is a hot button for a lot of people. I was told, I thought, such and such, okay? So we'll take that time, make sure we train people on product, services, and policies. And within that policies, that's that piece where I was talking about what is your definition of customer service. One of the Marriott brands I worked for was Ritz-Carlton. Our thing was ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And they made it very clear. We knew exactly who we were and exactly who we were serving. We knew that level of service that was expected, and guests knew the level of service they were going to receive. All right? So training is very important. Empowering. Allow your staff, your team members, to be empowered. If there's an issue in the office, do they have to come and get you? Or do they have a little bit of latitude to fix this customer or client or patient or whomever's problem? I think that is something huge, because it also speaks to that piece we were talking about with an employee being indifferent. Because sometimes if we don't see ourselves as part of this puzzle, as a piece of the puzzle, then we don't have any ownership in it. And so, but when they feel, oh, I could do this, okay, I have the latitude to fix this, you know what, I'm gonna take care of this for you. Then they too will make sure that your customer returns, all right? And then of course, we wanna create some type of reward system for them. And part of that reward system, it could be a win-win for both. You know, I like those, I know a lot of, maybe because I'm just a trainer, but I like those like corporate retreats that we could go on. People are like, oh my God, we gotta go to this 2-day corporate retreat, blah, 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 right? But they could be fun. And I say it's a win-win because it's a chance for you to either refresh and look at your products, services, and policies, okay? But you can also tie in some fun things into it and make it a reward. And that's what I mean, it's a win-win. Okay? Your employee is feeling valued, but then also you're getting across these policies. You're making sure that, oh, this is a great person that I hired. We're refreshing ourselves on what it is that we offer and our standard of excellence that we have. We're also going over ownership. I'm equipping you and letting you know you are part of our success here, right? And then we're rewarding that by doing something that is fun for both parties, okay? Yes, sir. Yes.
Can you give an example of, you said something about mentorable in the interview process, a mentorable?
Oh, I was just thinking, because like when you were, one of the, Eileen had mentioned, she wanted to make sure someone followed up, right? And I said it's harder to kind of see that in an interview, because it may be something, yes, we might click, oh, she'd be great for the front office, but I'm horrible as far as details, or I'm horrible as far as following up. So within that interviewing piece, making sure that you're putting some type of activity before you go ahead and make that final offer. I mean, it's, I trained for AmeriCorps. And so we go around and train them for 2.5 days for pre-service orientation before they do their year of service. But with most trainers and facilitators, one of the things that we have to do before we secure that position is to actually do that teaching piece, right? So it could be no different. So even if it's something you wanted to do, a lot of companies now are saying, come in for half a day and let's see how you do. So then you actually get to see that person in action. It could be as simple as that, okay? Oh, my pleasure. All right. Some of the things that you could use for your customer service training assessment, these are just some other things that you can look at too, as far as making sure that you're hiring right. If the person comes in, they're greeting people with a smile, so this could be used twofold. You looking at them, but then them also looking at themselves. All right? I think self-assessment is a huge tool. So they're greeting people pleasantly with a smile. They're showing respect. They enjoy. And I like this piece, enjoy. It goes back to that not everyone should be working with the public, all right? So they enjoy taking care of that customer. Going above and beyond is just a natural thing that they do. They also can explain the products and services that they have. That goes back to that, the convenience and policies. They feel comfortable upselling. Everyone on your team should always be selling. Always, always selling. Now, I'm not saying they have to be pushy with their selling, but if they're aware of different products and services, because of other reasons that they're there and customers want to come to you, they're coming to you because you're the expert. I'm coming to you because I need to lose 25 pounds. So you've got to sit and tell me, I'm looking to you to educate me, all right? And so making sure everyone is aware of all those different things and then tying it into upselling, which could lead to more profit for your organization. Empower to solve those issues, helping the customers, speaking in a courteous and clear manner, and then responding promptly, So we want to make responding promptly and making sure we're giving them our full attention. All of those things are just kind of different benchmarks and check marks that you can quickly kind of go back, look at your team or your staff and say, we're doing this. This is something we can work on. And then I also think it's important if you give this to people, and how do they see themselves? You know, we run students through a lot of mock interviews, and probably about 8 years ago, I just decided to start videotaping them. Because they're like, Miss Brooks, but I am smiling. I'm like, no, you're not. Not at all. You're looking a little hostile to me, okay? And so, because sometimes people just don't know. It's interesting sometimes to see, because they're like, no, I'm always pleasant. I'm always doing these things. And I'm like, let's take a look at that. And then see how we can improve up on it, all right?
Question.
Yes.
Full attention.
Yes.
What do you recommend the training be for businesses who have a person who's responsible for both dealing with the immediate public and also responding to the phone customers call in?
Oh, yes. I do think that the person who is there in person gets your first attention, okay? So, however, because there is a rule, you know, you should, in hospitality, there's a rule the phone should never ring more than 3 times, all right? And so, with that, as I'm helping you, you're asking me a question, and the phone starts to ring, right? I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, sir, do you mind if I just pick up that call? 9 times out of 10, most rational people are gonna say, oh yeah, go ahead, okay? So, and then I'll say, just quickly handle that phone call, all right? And then I'm gonna bring my full attention back to you, okay? So I do think, because you know, we might be running with skeleton crews, okay? And understandable, that's fine, but I think it's all about that communication. Most times people are upset because they don't know what's going on. You know, I know when we take public transportation, and then we're sitting there, and the train doors don't close, and it's like 5 minutes later, we all start talking to each other on the metro, like, what's going on? Are we supposed to get off the train? Are we not supposed to get off the train? What's happening, right? And so then that's when we kind of get flustered, because no one has tuned us in. There hasn't been any communication. So I think as long as you're communicating with your customer, well, let me take that back. I think as long as you start off, you know, I always call it making deposits. So the minute they come in, I've already begun to build a rapport and a relationship. So I was pleasant in the beginning, okay? Good morning, how are you, Mr. Crocker? How can I assist you today? I need such and such. Okay, let's see what we have. So you see that I'm giving you my full attention, being courteous, professional. You can see that I want to solve whatever problem is that you have. Right? So you're more apt to work with me should I need to step away and do something else. And then I'll be right back. So we've made that deposit, so I'm relying on that goodwill, and then we've communicated exactly what has happened. And most people will work with you on that. Okay? Okay. All All right, so how do we deliver the excellent customer service? The third part of this, and I know some people came in, I'll pass these back to you. I know. Good morning. So, how do we deliver excellent service? First and foremost, when I just was talking about making that deposit, it's about that smiling piece. It's huge, okay? When you come into a place, you know if you feel welcomed. You know if this is like, oh, this person is approachable, okay? I'm sure we've all had an experience where it's like, oh my gosh. But then we've also had what I call that Disney World experience. Like, where's the mouse? Okay? So we've had both of those things happen. So we want to make sure we're starting off with that smile. People that you have on your team, warm and engaging. They're fostering that type of environment. And those 6 steps to how we do the excellent customer services. Speed is huge. We want to make sure that we are available. So we looked at as far as telephone communication, we're saying, okay, phone should not ring more than 3 times. Okay? We want to make sure when people come into our establishment, it's a 15-10-5 rule. 15 feet, we've already made a nonverbal communication with them, welcoming them, gesturing them with our nonverbal communication. Okay? At 10 feet, they're coming closer. Now it's verbal. And we've said whatever our greeting is. You know, some people it's very long, it could be very short, whatever it is, but we've acknowledged that you've come into this space. One thing I always tell my team is, we always speak first. We never wait for anyone to speak first. We always come in and speak first. Good morning, good afternoon, okay? Right behind that is, how may we assist you? How may we help you, right? So, making sure, and that speed comes with a sense of urgency. Do a little extra and anticipate your customers' needs. When we talked about educating your customers, we're coming to you because we consider you the experts. So I'm looking to you to help me. And that piece about listening to what is it that I need. It is important that your frontline associates who are dealing with your customers have the ability to actively listen. So they're able to pick up on cues. When they're saying, you know, I love that question, what brings you in today? Right? And it could be a myriad of things that they're going to talk about. But what are those things I need to pick out and to make sure so that I'm offering them the services that they're looking for? I'm going to anticipate my customers' needs. I'm going to keep promises. We do not overpromise, all right? And we want to make sure that we keep the promises that we make. If we're not able to, and that comes in with our service recovery, and we'll definitely look at that. But if those promises, and we talked about that communication, that open line of communication, do not wait until the very, very end to let me know, it's all falling downhill, okay? There are sometimes that people who just like to be step by step. Let me let you know what's going on. We're gonna do the best that we can. We're gonna try to have this resolved for you by said date, right? But I'll definitely make sure I give you a call or shoot you a quick email so that we keep you in the loop, all right? Keeping your promises is very important. Addressing the problems immediately. How do you all feel your staff does with addressing problems? Good, bad, Room for improvement, okay. All right, so some improvement there. What else? Anyone else? You don't have any problems? We're good to go? Okay. So, well, if you happen to have some problems, all right? If you happen to have some problems, make sure with your customers that you do. Don't let them go on for a long time. That's that piece where I said when they come, if someone, don't let them, your staff, be afraid to say, how was everything? Is there anything that we can be doing to make your visit better? Okay? And then be ready to listen to that and then move forward. Okay? So address those problems immediately. Make sure we follow up on the problems or any questions. I'm sure almost everybody in here has a social media presence, right? What's you all's turnaround time? to get back with people. 24 hours, which I love, okay? I know on some people's voicemails, they'll say 24 hours, get back with you within 24 hours, okay? So I do think that, one, if we know within what time frame you're going to get back with me, or if there is a problem, that you'll need some time to take care of it. But if I have that frame of reference, then I'm also, as a customer, going to give you a bit more latitude, all right? And then personalize those communications. When we're going through and we're dealing with people, we want to make sure that we're using their names. Definitely find out and have your staff use people's names. Within an interaction, I do think it's important to try to use someone's name 2 or 3 times. All right? So Ms. Johnson, thank you so much for coming in. If you happen to have their name at the onset, definitely use it from the beginning of the interaction. If you don't happen to have it and maybe it comes later on, I've kind of trained my eye when people, give you credit cards, they kind of quickly look at that last name, right, and then be able to use it. And then think about how are you all going forward. You've begun the relationship. How are you now going to mature this relationship? How are you going to mature the relationship with the people that are coming in? Okay? So we can do that when we personalize our communications, whether it's in person, whether it's when we're leaving them voice messages or leaving them emails, things of that nature. Those are the things we want to do because those are the things that make customers feel valued. The same thing that we had for the staff is the exact same thing that that customers are looking for. No different.
Rebecca, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Two things. One, if you have a problem, sometimes the follow-up, not in person immediately, is, like you said, through social media, maybe people send you an email. You fail to answer that email, you miss that email, you don't went to spam or something like that. What is the best way to address that? Nowadays, that happens often, and you may get somebody who becomes irate because you did not answer the email, which you did not see, you failed to answer it immediately, you went to you deleted it accidentally or something. Unfortunately, that happens to me. What is the best way to address that?
I think the best way is just with honesty and just head on. I think that when we go through, if the minute the problem is brought to our attention, then we just jump on it and to deal with it. It's kind of like house on fire. So if we happen to, I sent an email last week and no one's responded, and then that's when we begin with, we'll listen to that, right? It's acronym called LEARN. And so with that, as we address that problem immediately, you'll listen to what it is that person is saying. Because remember I said, most times when people are upset and they're complaining, right, they just want to be heard. All they want to do is be heard. So we're going to listen to them. And then after listening to them, a lot of times, and this, let me just tie this in right now. This is where that higher right comes back in too. If you are going to deal with the public, you must have people on your team who don't take it personally. They can't take it personally, all right? Because they're going to set a lot of different things in motion. They're like, well, that wasn't my job. That wasn't my responsibility. Or Katie was supposed to do that or call you, okay? So one, we don't want to show like a disorganization within the organization, someone throwing someone else underneath the bus, all right? But they can't take it personally. Everybody on the team has to have that problem-solving, customer-focused mindset going forward, all right? So they have to be able to listen, with that being able to empathize. And then a lot of times I always tell people to do that by just restating what it is that the person said. Just restating what it is that the person said, and that helps to get you into a frame of mind where it's like, oh wow, well, if I had emailed somebody and didn't get a response for a week, I might be a little hot too, okay? So I'm able to empathize and then apologize. It's one word. It doesn't kill you. Hi, bye, apologize. I am so sorry that happened, okay? So I think that apology goes a long way because when we say, I apologize, what are we inherently doing? What are we doing? Okay, so if you need a moment
Or I
to,
can talk to my supervisor and how we could rectify that. But there's some people give you a quick answer, or, well, we don't do that as policy, whatever. But really sometimes they say, we'll get back to you within 24 hours.
I do. I think that that's something that with that apologizing, because there are some things that we can't always say yes to, all right? And so there are those ways in which it's kind of like let you down easy type of thing. We would have a lot of people who would want their room for free. Well, we can't do that, okay? This I cannot do, all right? But I am still going to listen. I'm going to empathize. I apologize that happened. I'm not able to do this. However, and then this is where you get creative. And that's that piece about, that's why it's so important that your staff feels empowered. They must feel empowered because a lot of times people do not want to deal with customer issues because they do not feel they're equipped to handle it. That's why they go, oh, let me get my supervisor. And then that turns into they're not part of the team. Thus that turns into they're just indifferent. And so they don't see themselves as an integral part of the profit-making business that you have, all right? So when they are apologizing, after you apologize, react. Make sure we move up on it, and then we notify so it doesn't happen again, okay? So we make sure we listen to them, we're empathizing with them, we're apologizing. If it is something that you cannot do, offer them some other things that you can do. I always call it the creative way of saying no. Because as long as they have options, well, I can't do this. How about this? And then making sure that within, if you do have a customer, email fell through, phone call fell through, you're part of your service recovery, 12 to 24 hours later, they should be getting a phone call or some type of personal communication from you to let them know, I'm calling to follow up, was everything okay? Was everything resolved to your satisfaction? And then it's a yes. Tie it up in a pretty little bow, okay? Very important to do. Yes.
Just go back a little bit on how to address your customers. This is another thing that is, times have changed, things have become more informal, and we also have different generations. That may also change the way that people interact. So I think you also have to pay attention to the age of your customer. But in general, what do you recommend? You say it's important to say the person's name, personalize it. It makes the person feel that again, they are being listened to. So what do you recommend? Mrs. First name.
I always start with last name. I like to play it conservative and safe. Okay, so I would always start with last name, then people are like, oh, that's my dad, call me Paul, and then let them give you the lead and the key. It's when people just come out and like, hey, Paul, what? Wait. So I do. I always think you should play it safe, and then after we play it safe, and then you establish what comfort level, how we're going to work, then we'll work to that. Another thing is when you're thinking about hiring, right, it just pops into my mind, make sure your team knows they are going to be the change agent in this. They are not going to be able to change anyone else but themselves. And so them being able to be adaptable and flexible to whatever audience is in front of them is what's going to help it be a better day. Right? So them being the change agent, I think, is key and tantamount. And that's that piece where people can't take it personally. All right? And they're like, oh, that's not me, such and such. Or I don't want to change the way that I do things. All right, so that's very important. Good morning. Okay. All right. Anything else? We're good? Okay. So with that, we're going to just wrap it up. And please, as I'm going through, let me know. So for next steps, we want to think about your customer's perspective. Because honestly, that's the only one that matters. It is their experience and how they're feeling about the services and products that are offered is the only one that matters. All right, so we want to make sure that their experience and the quality of that experience is all inclusive. We also want to look at how is it you understand, how how you satisfy your customers' needs and expectations. There should be at least, we should always know, well, no, I won't say always. I won't say that. I'll say 75 to 80% of the time, we should be in tune with what our customers' needs and expectations are, right? We should already know that. Now, after they go and fill us in and let us know about different things, then we can put ourselves to that always 100% piece as we're going through and retooling what it is. But from the standpoint of their needs and expectations, this is what's going to differentiate us. This is what's going to kind of set us apart. Remember, I can buy milk and eggs. There's a plethora of places. CVS sells milk, Giant sells milk. Safeway, Harris Teeter, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, 7-Eleven, all of these, the corner store, the Sitco gas station by me sells milk. So there's 8 places within a small mile radius, but I tend to find myself going into places where the people are pleasant. All right? That's where we tend to find ourselves. So this is a thing that can help differentiate your business from everyone else's. All right? So look at your people just like you do your products. You know, look at your people on your team just like you do the products and services that you offer. The other thing, you have to look at what is your current level of assessment. There's that short little assessment tool that's in there that people can take for themselves, but then you as owners or managers can also utilize to kind of look at your team and to see what are different things that we need to work on. It's also going to help you as far as setting up your level of service. Are we just gonna be an organization that gets people in and out? Or are we gonna be an organization where people are telling their friends and they're like, oh, it was so easy when I went there. I had this problem and they were able to solve it. We've all gone places where we just were like, oh my gosh, what an experience, and we wanna let everybody know, okay? But we've also had an experience where it's like, I will never ever step foot in that place ever again, all right? So take that time. Also remember, take that time in the beginning, after you hire right, to train. Don't just throw people in there. Train, make sure the onboarding process doesn't have to be extensive, but you should at least equip them with the products, the services, and policies of your organization. Because if I happen to catch them as far as like, I come in, I'm a customer, you know, I don't know it's their first day. I have no idea. And depending on the day, I may not even care. I'm just trying to get this done, right? But they were just kind of thrown out there. And then my interaction, my first impression of your organization has been set. It's been set. So, but we could have did a 4-8-hour onboarding process, and it might have left a different interpretation, all right? Also, recognizing the challenges. Don't be afraid to look back over your policy. Kind of like, you know, when they tell us your mission statements, your policies, your vision statements, however you all call them, these should be living documents. Always looking at them, reassessing, and remove the obstacles that keep people from doing business with you. The ease of business, I find, is the best way to have clients and customers. Is it easy for people to reach you? Whatever medium you'd like to use for people to reach you. Are the policies, when they get your products and services, amenable and easy and help to foster a conversation? Is the customer able to get what they need out of it? All right? If the answer is no, then we have to remove those things so that we can improve on that customer service. All right? Also, excellent customer service, you as the leadership must have a customer-focused mindset. You must walk the talk, lead by example. All day long, I tell people to smile. So you know what I do all day long? Smile. Okay? This is a natural thing. Yeah, I love it. But it is very important so that walk the talk. Are you showing leadership by the actions that you're actually doing? Okay? So these are just a couple of things, all right, that why we know that customer service is important, especially in light of all the booming businesses that are coming here to our corridor in our great street of Rhode Island Avenue. And then I think one thing about being a small business that is so great and cool is because we don't have to go through layers of corporate to change policy. If we know it's not working, we go, okay? So it's I consider that a blessing, all right? You don't have to go to that, what I call the crystal tower, and get approval from the wizard. So I think that if you have any policies that you need to change, if you want to have a customer-focused mindset, it is important. Make sure you get your team involved as well, because that's what's really, if they are going to be the nuts and bolts and really working with the people, then those are the people who definitely have to have the training, the mindset, the knowledge, and the empowerment, so that we're not losing customers. It's actually the customers that we interface with are actually becoming our biggest marketing tools. Okay? All right, cool. You guys have anything else? Anything pop into your mind? Any other questions or comments or anything? We're good? Okay, comment. Sorry. Okay.
I don't have them with me, but I do know that it's probably, I'm not sure how hard it is to get back a customer you have upset. You have put them on your bad side, and is it worth trying to get that customer back? How difficult is that?
I do think, I do believe in trying, love a challenge, okay? I think that you can try, but again, it has to be addressed quickly. So the minute it's brought to your attention, I think within, if 72 hours haven't passed, all right, definitely pick up the phone, kind of personalize it, take that ownership for it, and just be honest. A lot of times people just want the honest truth. Okay, and then they're more apt to kind of work with you. Now, if it's been we haven't, those postcards you get in the mail, we haven't seen you in a while, come back, because we don't know why they left. They could have moved, they maybe no longer want our goods and services, what have you. So it's a way to kind of reintroduce ourselves back to people, because we did say, Gabrielle brings up a good point, we did say how 96% of people will not tell you why they left. They'll just leave. Okay, just kind of leave you hanging. So I do think that's a good way to kind of get them back. But if you notice, also I think what's important, customer trends. That's why I think it's important to know people's names. Because like you get that person who comes in, we were passing the Rite Aid, and I was telling a friend of mine, I said, I used to go to Rite Aid every single day after work to get the Hers pretzels. That's the only place I could find them, and that was like my thing. Here's your 99 cents, where's my little blue bag? Right? So we move on. But I think that those are, you start to know people and your staff starts to engage with people, because invariably something will go wrong, but we've made deposits, so now it's our time to kind of make withdrawals, all right? And if you haven't made enough deposits, then that's where I would say, push the pride aside, and then we just make that phone call. Whatever way we need to contact that person. And it could be, it's no different. Think about if it could be maybe, I apologize for the inconvenience. Let me offer you a 25% off next time for your next visit. Or if something is coming up, or if they have a birthday or anniversary. And that's why I say it's so important. It's not transactional. It's really a relationship that you're starting to foster with your customer. Okay? Yes.
Another important thing is that nowadays you also get feedback if your business is on Yelp or other social media. So you may start getting comments, people posting comments about your business on Yelp. Some of them may be good, some of them may not be so good. Any tips on how to address that? Because I know it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It can be, or it can be false. So any tips on how to address that?
Yeah, we kind of talked about Yelp in the beginning, but I do think that within 24 hours, hours. You should definitely have someone monitoring your social media to see what's being said out there. So if someone does post a good review, address it. If someone posts a bad review, you should still address it. And you could use that same kind of acronym that you could use LEARN too. Instead of listening, you're just reading it and taking it in. But say, Susan, I saw where you came into our store last week. I apologize for that experience. So we're apologizing, we're reacting to it, and then we're notifying. If there was a way for me to reach out to you, I'd be more than happy, to make sure that everything is much better next time. So yes, you must address social media immediately, okay? And again, I think 24 hours is a good kind of course for that. I think with Yelp is the biggest one that a lot of people use for a lot of places since it covers everything. Apartment complexes are using, people are getting on Yelp and posting their own photos and things of that nature. But I also think it could be a great marketing tool as well, both sides. And then if there is a complaint on Yelp and I see that a manager or someone from the organization addressed it, that too gives me an indication that they're a responsive organization. Something must have happened, but hey, the person went online and addressed it, and you can see their interaction right there. So that's important as well. Good. Anything else?